Our first guest this morning is Congressman Marc Veasey. He is a Democrat who represents the 33rd District, stretching from Fort Worth all the way over to Dallas. Congressman, good morning to you.
Morning, Jason.
A few days ago here in Dallas, we heard at length from the president. This morning, we want to hear from you. The president doubled down on being pro-police and never discussed racism at all. So I'm curious, what are the chances now for bipartisan police reform?
I think that we have a great opportunity for bipartisan police reform. We're going to pass the bill in the House. The Senate has indicated that they would like to take up a bill. Hopefully, their bill has some substance to it, some meat to it. But so I think that there's a great opportunity. But obviously, the final piece of the puzzle is the President of the United States. It's discouraging when you think about the fact that he goes and does a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Juneteenth, of all dates, and of course, for Tulsa, it was considered probably the worst race riot ever in American history. And for him to choose that town on that date was very insensitive. The way he's talked about the Confederate monuments and the statues and the military bases, that's been very insensitive.
Well, you mentioned, Congressman, you mentioned obviously he's the wild card in this. You think it's highly likely that we might get bipartisan police reform. Let's lay out what Democrats want. You want to make it easier to sue police for bad behavior, create a national registry of bad police officers so they can't move around like they are right now, make lynching a federal crime, stop giving surplus military equipment to local police.
No chokeholds.
No chokeholds. Which of these, though, might have the best chance of making it to the president's desk and getting him to sign it?
The Republicans haven't really been that detailed about what they will and won't accept. I think that Kevin McCarthy on the House side, that he's indicated that there may be some parts of the Democratic bill that he would accept. But at the end of the day, again, we need for the president to be able to do his part in the executive branch. I think that you're going to see some bipartisanship. I'm encouraged, at least by what I've heard so far, that we're going to see some bipartisanship on the House side, on the legislative side. But as far as the executive branch is concerned, we need for the president to step up and stop playing Twitter and stop trying to play to his base and bring the country together. I think that it's sad. You look at what presidents have done when the country has been at a weak moment, and they've always tried to bring the country together, whether it was Lincoln during the Civil War, whether it was Roosevelt during World War II, and this president is doing everything he can to continue to divide us because he thinks that it's good for his electoral politics, and I think it's lousy for his electoral politics. I think he's going to continue to do bad in suburbs and putting a lot of
Congressman, let me ask
Congress at risk, and he needs to step up to the plate.
You mentioned your colleagues on the right side of the aisle. What proposals, and I know they are few and far between right now, but what proposals by Republicans do you like right now?
I haven't really seen any specific proposals from Republicans on police reform. They've indicated that some of the things that we've talked about, perhaps they would be able to support, but I haven't seen anything specific from them. I hope that in addition to joining marches or giving us lip service, if they actually do join us this time. I mean, if you think about the Republicans in the past, they've been very hesitant to address race and even say that race is an issue. And you've seen even members of Trump's cabinet say that there's no such thing as systemic racism in our country. And so the fact that we have members of the legislative branch that are Republicans that are saying, hey, we need to do something. Maybe they can go to the White House, go to 1600 Pennsylvania, and talk some sense into Trump and get him to come the right way on this issue of race.
Hey, Congressman, we have 60 seconds left here. I want to ask you about the presidential campaign. You and I last saw each other in person back in Iowa when you were campaigning for Vice President Biden. President Trump is restarting his rallies in Tulsa. You mentioned it a moment ago. Doesn't that put pressure on Biden to do the same and get back out physically in front of people?
I think that I want to see Biden be responsible. And if he thinks that as far as his health and if he wants to make sure that he's not exposing anyone else, then I can understand that. It's really tough to be in parks right now. because of coronavirus. And so if the vice president is doing what he thinks is putting the health and safety of Americans first, then I'm for that before I'm for a rally.
All right. Congressman Marc Veasey, thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks, Jason.